Hi, I'm Katie.
I'm Ali.
And welcome to Mostly Book Talk. We are very pleased to have with us today Emma Farrarons, who won the Klaus Flugge Prize in 2025 for her illustration of My Hair is as Long as a River by Charlie Castle. And this year, she is back as the chair of judges for the Klaus Flugge Prize. And she's going to talk to us about the shortlist and the judging process and her experience of winning the prize. Enjoy. Welcome. We are going to talk today about the Klaus Flugge Prize, and we've got Emma Farrarons, who is the chair of judges, with us today to talk about the prize and about the 2026 shortlist. So Emma was the winner of the 2025 Klaus Flugge Prize for her illustrations for the book My Hair is as Long as a River, which was written by Charlie Castle. And so welcome, Emma. Tell us a bit about your experience and winning the prize last year.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a really incredible feeling to win the prize. I've been a book designer for 16 years prior to this, always wishing to be on the other side of the files I was cleaning up. And then to win an award for my first picture book, achieving a dream I've wanted to do. It was a if not now, when moment after COVID. What's extra special about it is that it's gone full circle because it's published with my old team that I used to work for. My ex-colleagues, people I've known before they had babies or got married, so almost like a family to me. Everything about it is just a wonderful feeling.
Well, what's it felt like going from being a winner to becoming a judge?
I think it was quite surreal to go to the Anderson office and meet the other judges and see the beautiful pile of books and realize that last year, my book, My Hair is as Long as a River, written by Charlie Castle, was in that exact pile and being looked at to be judged. I would say surreal.
And what surprised you most about being on the other side of the judging table?
So what surprised me about being a judge? I think one of the things that I probably did without realizing it was put my designer hat on and my storytelling hat on and my writer's hat on, as well as my illustration and my observational drawing hat on. So I used all of those.
That's a lot of hats.
Lots of hats.
That's a lot of hats. That's what I did. What was interesting was to be with, it wasn't just me, we were 4 judges. So you have Vanessa Lewis, the owner of Book Nook, the bookshop in Hove.
Yeah.
And then you have Shirley Jackson, the course leader of the Anglia Ruskin Illustration MA in Cambridge, which is a prestigious course in children's book illustration. And of course, Rob Biddulph, who is an illustrator, author, inspirer, bestseller, who's been in the industry for many years. And so we all looked at each book carefully together.
And how many were there in the long list before you got to the short list?
This is a good question. We went through the long list. So I think there was a longer list of books given to Anderson Press, and then they
did the sort of first pass of it.
That's right. And then we did the short list and decided on the winner on the same day.
Oh, so you already know. So you have to be really careful not to say anything today.
Exactly. Even my children who've been trying to find out have told me. In fact, the year my book was submitted for the Klaus Flugge, my children told me, we already know that you haven't won.
Oh, that's not the supportive vote that you hope that you get. You'd hope that they would be like, "You've won, Mum, you've won."
Yeah. Well, they were very proud when they found out.
Oh, that's good. So let's backtrack a bit. Tell us just a bit about the prize, how it's established, why it's linked to Anderson.
It's something that Klaus Flugge has created and supports specifically to reach out to newcomers in illustration, in picture book illustration. And I can't think of any other prize of that sort that exists in the UK.
No,
so it's very special. It's very special to be able to celebrate this. It's a beautiful celebration of the picture book art, which is something that is really strong in the UK.
And why do you think to have a prize for newcomers, why is that so important? Just to have something that a debut illustrator can aim for?
There's a lot of recognition for authors and for illustrators who have been published for many years. And you see their books that they dominate libraries and bookshops. And it might even be that you grew up with a book, so you'll gift that book to your grandchild. And so to shine a spotlight on somebody who is entering for the first time this world and sharing their art and how they see and how they create image and storytelling, I think it's really special. And I think that's what makes the prize wonderful.
Yeah. So there were 18 longlisted titles, and that's now narrowed down to a short list of 6. Do you want to take us through them? You can tell us a little bit about them all.
Yeah, just to give our listeners a bit of an idea of what there is there, what they should look out for, which they should go and explore, the new illustrators to look out for.
The illustrators who have made the shortlist are Justin Worsley, illustrator and author of Henry the Artistic Dog.
Okay.
And then you've got Forrest Shaw, the author and illustrator of 7 Babies.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's Circle Ewan, who is the author and illustrator of Our Dance, Living Apart, Time Together. And then Leila Ekboir, the author and illustrator of We Are Like Birds. And then we have Becky Colvin, who is the author and illustrator of The Great Island. So all of these are picture books. And then we have one non-fictional book, which is illustrated and written by Tekla Kribias. And it's called The Voyage That Changed the World. So these 6 books really stood out to us, the 4 judges. They're all very unique and beautifully illustrated because of the richness in the arts and the narratives. We looked at the way the pagination has been considered, the art materials, the composition, the color, and the brave decisions on creating images. So because this is a prize on illustration specifically, we did our best not to look at the text and actually look at the craft behind. And we agreed that all 6 books had a lot of work. There was a lot of work and a lot of time spent on each image. And that's what made these 6 books really stand out for us.
Brilliant.
Do you want to go through them one by one and just give us a little tiny précis of each one? And one thing that stood out, maybe.
Do you want to go in alphabetical order? Start with the Great Green Island, just on the basis of it's as fair an order as any. So we're going to start with the Great Green Island, whose illustrator is Becky Colvin. So do you want to just talk about what that book's about and the art in it?
I don't want to give too much because there's a very exciting surprise at the end of the story, but it is about a little girl who is an adventurer and she goes on this exciting adventure. And what we loved about this book was, first of all, the character building, so the little girl herself, and then the world building, the world that Becky creates, as well as the relationship between the little girl and her father. And then when we talk about the world that Becky creates, the different people who live on that island, the houses, the streets, the sea, the flora and the fauna, we feel that Becky's really dug deep in her imagination to create this whole universe. And then to tie it in with a story as well, an exciting adventure that children can enjoy diving into. We thought that was very impressive.
Yeah, I think we were saying that the detail of it, there's so much to look at, and that some of the story is carried by the drawings. They want to give away the reveal. The drawings have a key role in the story.
There's a lovely spread early on where there are so many rabbits to count. That thing where you can come back to a book and say, oh, how many rabbits are there? How many chickens? What can you see?
I also love the scenes she creates underwater. If you don't live by the seaside, this is the kind of book that transports you to another world as a child. So I can just imagine you're reading it in bed and being transported to this exciting world that Becky's built.
Yeah. Now I can see that you could spend a lot of time poring over the pictures in it and really looking at them. They're lovely. So the next one, We Are Like Birds, Leila Ekboir.
We Are Like Birds by Leila Ekboir is about a family moving to a new country. And it's full of emotion. What we found special about this book is that it's rich in emotion and feeling. And that's something really hard to do. We hear the story through the point of view of a little girl. And it's interesting to see how Leila manages to create feelings using these beautiful, soft pencil, watercolor textures, and manages to show the world of the little girl. What we notice is that each spread, she storytells also the emotions through color, which is very special. And then it is wonderful to see the journey of the family in this story, and how the little girl at the second to the last spread where she's holding a quilt showing all the places that she's lived. We found that spread absolutely beautiful. A patchwork of memories.
It is beautiful. And the cover's got my favourite things, some spot varnish on it, which I always like.
I think it's interesting that you highlighted the emotions, because the drawings do an amazing job of communicating the emotions as part of it, because there is that real kind of trepidation and uncertainty around the unknown of moving.
And I'd say pairing that with delicate, I would say a more fragile art material works really well here, because actually illustrators who use analog art material, so I would say rather than digital art material, depending on the art material they use, the voice of that story, the atmosphere of that story can really change. So what we liked is what she used specifically here to bring out the emotions.
Lovely. So then we've got the next one, which is The Voyage That Changed the World, which is the one non-fiction, which is Thekla Prize.
So for this one, there's a lot. It's a 70-plus page non-fiction book about, it's even got the Philippines in it. I think of Magellan arriving in the Philippines. It talks about history, and we were amazed of the detail Thekla created, the dramatic storms, the sailors traveling around the world, the jungle, the lush jungles with animal, and then the going back through time as well. So she brings us through time, and we were very impressed by how much research she must have done to create such rich images. It's difficult to visualize if you're reading the text on its own, and when you see the images that she's created, she takes you back through time.
And it was this analog as well, because you can see the sort of parchment feel of the paper underneath. Is it art painted, or is it collage as well?
Yeah, I think it looks like it could be a mix of scanned textures, a lot of watercolor textures. And then I can see what you mean about the stencil because of the shapes. It almost has got a feel of printmaking. But at the same time, it also looks as though there is digital. It's a beautiful mix of all of it, really. It even all reminds me sometimes of cave painting, the textures and the colors as well. I think she's carefully thought again of the color palette here to bring you back through time.
Yeah, it's quite a distinctive colorway, isn't it? And again, so much detail, as you've mentioned, just so much to look at and spend loads of time exploring all of those pages. Yeah. Okay, brilliant. And so the next one we have is Henry the Artistic Dog by Justin Worsley.
I think what we liked about this book is that it's very different. It's a story about a dog who makes sculptures with his poo. But it's very fresh. And we were commenting on how we haven't seen a voice like this. It's zoomed in from the height of the dog as well. And it's very playful. And I know that Justin used to be a toy designer.
Right.
So there is this playfulness throughout the book. And that's what's so special about picture books. When you write a story, you can write about anything. And this is what Justin wrote a story about. So what we like about it is his line work is very quick. It feels spontaneous and alive. There's a lot of movement in the way he creates his art. And that's what gives his artwork vivacity. And that's what stood out for us.
Yeah, it feels very distinctive. I think, as you say, it feels fresh. I can't think of anything that it looked like, if that makes sense. And as you say, there is a sort of immediacy to it because it feels like it's got that pace almost in the drawing that's going through it. And I did love the story. I thought that was really funny. There are lots of critics of the numbers of poo and wee books or whatever, but this treats it in a very different way and is fun and interesting. We were laughing when we were reading this one. We were laughing out loud. It's that kind of book, isn't it?
We also commented on how brave he is to think, I'm done with this line. I'm not going to continue at it. When he makes a decision with his line work or strokes, he just commits to it. Because as an illustrator, you've got to know when your piece of art is finished. And you can see that confidence in his art.
That's interesting. So the next one we have 7 Babies by Forrest Yao.
Yes. So what we loved about this is that we were intrigued by the title. And when you open it and it's 7 babies, coming to knock at your door to be adopted for the day. It's such a unexpected story, and that's full of surprises on every spread. And we noticed the humor and the chaos, and we also really enjoyed Forrest's line work and her color palettes. And the world building again here is really playful. It's all mostly set inside. So, for example, the spread with just the washing machine and the babies watching the washing machine twirl. Things that I think maybe it feels quite close to home. People can identify with the story, those who have children. We found this book a mix of many emotions, and it was also very funny and playful.
And just delightfully odd that these babies turn up on a doorstep and then they wander off again at the end to wherever they're going next.
Yeah, sort of mystery babies. Again, it's a really distinctive style and it's fun. So the last one is Our Dance by Circle Yuan.
It's a serious topic, this one. It's about families separating. This is a dance between a child and dancing with both parents. So we were struck by the emotion of this book. The color palette is limited. It's black and white and yellow. And a circle pushes the emotional on the spreads using light on the happier scenes and pushes the charcoal for the darker, more emotional ones. And it's not easy to show such emotion for this book. And we think that she did a beautiful job in Our Dance for this. I think I felt quite tearful looking at this book. And that's why we chose it.
Yeah, it's a very emotional book. And the difference in the light and the dark passages is really distinctive, and it does take you through it and really make you feel the topic of it.
Yeah, it's nice that there's information at the back as well, I think. People. It's beautiful. And when she's dancing on her own at the end with everyone watching her, is really gorgeous.
It's very impactful. We felt that it touched our hearts.
So that's a highlights, an overview of all of the books. It's a really international spread, isn't it? Is it right that there are illustrators from Germany, China, is it Argentina, alongside Britain?
That's right. Yeah, it is an international mix, for sure. And I think that's what we love about picture books, that everybody brings their own influence and how, in some way, of how they've grown up and what books they've read or what they like and what inspires them. And that's what makes, I think, at the end, that's how you create your voice, mixed with your own personal experiences. If I'm not mistaken, I think maybe for Layla, she might have used a personal story or something, or maybe she might know somebody. We actually don't know anything about the illustrators when we judge. We look at the books, so we're not given anything that may influence the judging of the books.
That's interesting. We're talking about the international aspect of it. I was just going to ask you, because it feels like sometimes we have quite an insular look as in England or Britain in terms of our picture books and our style, and that when you do go abroad and you look abroad, there's quite a lot of very different picture books. Is that something that you've seen? And is that changing? Is this the fact that there's such an international spread here? Do you think that is changing, that we're becoming more outward looking in terms of the different styles that are around?
I think it's probably how the world is now. It's easier to work with illustrators. For example, if you're an art director, to work with an illustrator across the other part of the world.
Yeah.
And also people are easier to reach. So for example, if you live in another country, you could contact somebody, an art director, through LinkedIn or even Zoom if you want. And then there's the Bologna Book Fair, the World Book Fair, where every single publishing house of every country is represented. And there you could, as an illustrator, if you admire a publishing house, you could reach out with your portfolio. I know that a few of the illustrators in this lineup of the shortlist have studied at the Cambridge MA, at the Anglia-Ruskin. So they are international. It's an international course. In terms of me, I was born in the Philippines. I grew up in France. I studied visual communication in 2000 in Scotland. Right. And then with the idea to get a job in publishing, I got my first job at Macmillan Children's Books in 2005. And I've been a picture book designer. So in terms of internationality, for me, it's just binormal. It's just me. I think that as well, geographically, the UK, even if the UK has Brexit, it's still, for me, very European. And the UK itself, I think, is very mixed. So people will bring in different influences naturally.
Yeah.
But for sure, I would say growing up, I didn't see many books where people who looked like me were represented. And I
Yeah.
can see a big difference in that now when I go to a bookshop. And I can see it here in these books: Our Downs, Seven Babies, We Are Like Birds, and The Voyage That Changed the World, as well as The Great Green Island. Henry is about dogs. But in terms of the other picture books, there is a lovely diversity in the people who are illustrated. So for sure, I can see that books are changing. So for example, I specifically have created a book series I've written and illustrated called Once Away. My character is Filipino, and she's based on myself and my children, and I'm intentionally making that choice. So I could see that. I can see that more present in the picture book world. Absolutely. But it needs to be more. There has to be more of that, personally.
That's interesting.
Brilliant.
And it's interesting, the influence of the Cambridge School of Art course, because we keep on coming across illustrators who have
graduated from there.
Yeah. And a really international bunch as well.
I was going to add to that the way I got into illustration is I did illustration tutorials on observational drawing, and that's how I found my voice. And my tutor is a Cambridge MA ex-student. So I was taught by somebody who...
someone there as well.
Yeah, an ex-student and a teacher.
There's a real range of actual illustration techniques, aren't there, in those books? Were there any that particularly surprised you, that are particularly unusual? Or what was your thinking when you looked at like both the long list and the short list? What's your sense in terms of the variety of techniques that people are using and how people are putting together picture books?
We noticed that all art materials and ways of creating images, whether digital or with analog, were used in the book set, in the long list and the short list. Interestingly, Rob Biddle is a digital artist, and I'm an analog artist. And then you've got Vanessa Lewis, who's a bookshop owner, and then the course leader of the MA in illustration. So I think at the end, we didn't choose analog or digital over the other. What we looked at was the playfulness of mark making, and also, for example, what's really important is also to see the characters, how they react, how they are, the relationship the characters have together. So you've got that, and then you've got the richness of the backgrounds, and then the spontaneous line work. And if the image is rich in narrative, emotion, feeling, energy, and then, of course, you've got the storytelling elements, so the world building behind. And then you've got the color palettes. You can also storytell specifically just on color palettes. I mentioned earlier about Layla's book, where she uses very soft textures to bring out the fragility of the emotions in her books. So I think what we noticed about all the books is that they made a choice on how to create their images, and they did it in such a strong, emotive, powerful way, bringing their imagination and highlighting their imagination at its best with the choice of art materials and movement and feeling.
Lovely.
Great.
That's
Thank you.
great. No, these are all amazing books. If people are looking for picture books to add to their collections, they're all amazing books in terms of the quality of the illustrations and highlighting
And the great stories as well, which is obviously not what the Klaus Flugge Prize is looking at, but they all hang together, don't they? The illustrations help tell the lovely stories. What happens next with now the shortlist is out? When's the awards ceremony?
So the awards ceremony is this September, and it'll be a big party at the Artist Guild on the 9th September.
Right.
The winner will be announced.
And look out for that.
Yes, it's very exciting. The winner will be announced and celebrated and receive this beautiful award, Glass Award, for the most exciting and promising newcomer. So we're very thrilled about that. There'll be speeches, and other past winners are invited to celebrate. And of course, the other people at shortlist are also celebrated. It's a great way of, as well, talking with librarians and people who work in publishing, art directors and editors, meet Klaus himself. Just a lovely party celebrating picture books.
Brilliant. Sounds amazing.
Our last question was, is there one piece of advice you would give to someone who's stepping out into this world of being an illustrator?
I think the best piece of advice I was given is to draw every day from life. Have a sketchbook with you in your pocket, in your bag, and with ready art materials, and just record everything around you always. It's a way of exercising your brain and also honing your craft in drawing, and also learning about what you like to draw and experimenting with art materials, discovering that maybe the dip pen is what you like using, or perhaps a color palette or a subject you like drawing. So for me, the advice I was given in 2018, and I haven't stopped since. And it's something I use for when I come up with my story writing, and also it feeds my imagination and my memory drawing.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Amazing. Very good advice. Brilliant. Thank you very much. And it sounds very exciting. And we look forward to hearing who was won. Well, congratulations on your win last year and everything that you've done this year in terms of chairing the awards and deciding who's won. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.